Hey guys, welcome back to the Bitcoin Bunker. I'm your host, Satoshi Down Under, and this episode I want to talk a little bit about market psychology since we're experiencing this dump in Bitcoin price. So as we do on this show, almost every episode we'll take a brief look at price. Like I've said before, price is the least interesting thing about Bitcoin. But it is the thing that draws most people in initially. Number go up, technology as we call it. So we've experienced a fair bit of pain in the last few weeks. This here's a weekly chart showing every one of these candles is a week. So as we can see, massive sell-off we've had. Now, we can speculate as to why, all the rest of it, but it doesn't really matter. We're essentially down 53%. So we're looking at this and we could say, oh my God, it's over. Bitcoin's dead. I think Bitcoin's been recorded as dying 500 times or something like that. So this will just be another body count, which will be proven wrong. Bitcoin won't die here. I look at this down 53% and I say this is a good time to buy. Bitcoin's on sale. And that leads me to the topic of market psychology, right? Because if we go to the Christmas sales or the Boxing Day sales that they have here in Australia, probably have it everywhere in the world, right? We've just gotten through Christmas, and rather than enjoying time with our families and spending that time off, all the lunatics go rushing out for their Boxing Day sales because they can get 30 to 50% off, sometimes 80% off. All the crap that they probably bought their loved ones before Christmas. So the psychology when you're looking to buy consumer goods, for most people, is they look at a discounted price and they say, oh, I've got to go get that. Like, it's on sale. It's 30% off. It's 50% off. It's so cheap. Sadly, that doesn't usually translate to investing of any kind. Usually people freak out instead. They see 50% pullback in a stock. Even the big name stocks over here, we've had massive price retracements in the miners, and for some reason, it's the perfect time to buy when you can look at a chart and say, oh my God, we're 53% down, or we're 60, 70, 80% down. But it's another thing to actually pull the trigger. And I think that's why the psychology differs from retail shoppers to investors. Unfortunately, what it requires though is not just a matter of looking at the price, how far it's retraced, and then deciding to buy. Because what people tend to freak out about is if it's gone down 50%, how much lower is it going to go? And the only way that with Bitcoin or with any investment, the only way you can pull the trigger when there are these 53% dumps, 60, 70, 80, Bitcoin's history is full of them, is you've got to build conviction in what it is that you're putting your time and energy and your fiat currency into, right? Same as if you're invested in some mining stock. Over here in Australia, BHP is one of the big iron ore producers, and they have, other mineral deposits, but predominantly it's iron ore. So how do you build conviction with something like a BHP? Well, you look at the size of the company, you look at how long they've been around, you say to yourself, iron ore will always be in demand, even if it's down at the moment, and you decide, I'll buy and I'll hold on. And I'll hold on until iron ore recovers or whatever, and I've got faith in the CEOs, and I've got faith in the company as a whole and their market share, and the price will recover. And typically it does. But short-term investors might feel a fair bit of pain because they tend to want quick gains, they want easy wins, But like any investment, it's those that have the conviction to put their money into something for at least 5 years, preferably 10, sometimes forever, pass it down to their kids, whatever it may be. But most people are short-term thinkers. They have a high time preference, meaning they want instant gratification. They want to put a trade on, never have it go down, which is absurd, like not just Bitcoin, but anything. This is the market, right? This is psychology of the market. And I've got a good graphic here to explain a bit more about this market psychology. So this one here, this has been going around for years now, but it's a good one to look at and remind yourself of basically people's emotions and how they reflect in the market. So over here we have, the beginning, disbelief, when the market's down and they don't think it'll rally because it's been down for so long. We have a bit of a pump in price. There's hope. Oh, we might be recovering. We might be coming out of this bear market or whatever it may be. We typically see more of a run up. Then we get a steep run up, which I would compare to the silver chart soon. We have optimism, belief, thrill. I need to buy more. I need to leverage up. I need to go mortgage the house to buy more of this stock or more of this meme coin or more silver, Bitcoin, whatever. We have this parabolic move up. Euphoria, everyone's in profit, everyone feels like a genius, and then typically that's when the smart money starts exiting. So the smart money starts pulling out, we get a drawdown, typically you get a relief rally, a bit of a bounce, which we'll look on some charts in a minute, and then we roll over again, which you could say is what's happening with Bitcoin now, I would say. How low we go, I'm not sure. Last cycle, 2022 bear market, kind of lasted a whole year. It was a solid year. We got as low as 17, 16K USD from highs of 68. So yeah, for 2022 bull market and then the bear market that followed. So we had a very significant drawdown. FTX exchange blew up. BlockFi, a few other things blew up and led to a cascading effect. Everyone that was leveraged up, obviously they get liquidated, causes more selling. So people tend to try and ride this out. They're not typically dollar cost averaging, like I suggest. They're not buying in, they're just freaking out and they're watching their portfolio go from where it was, maybe they were massively in profit, and they watch it crash down basically to where they bought, probably lower than where they bought because they would have been buying all the way up with the massive run up in that euphoria stage. And then we have capitulation, right? So the thing about capitulation is when you look around and everyone on X and all the experts and everybody else and all your friends are freaking out. They're saying they've lost their money. It just keeps going lower, the price. I'm getting out. Typically, the herd mentality is wrong. And the moment that they get out is almost always the best time to be loading up and buying more. And then what happens is the sellers are exhausted, right? So people either get to a point where they look at their portfolio and say, well, it's worth so little that there's no point me even selling this. I may as well just put it in the bottom drawer and forget about it, which is actually better. It's more beneficial for them than just selling out. I had 100,000 and now it's worth 5,000. Like, you may as well not even sell then. Like, you may as well just ride the thing out and hold on. If you don't have conviction, if you've got conviction, it's a different story. You'd be buying up the whole way down. You won't pick the bottom, but if you keep dollar cost averaging, you buy some here, you buy some here, you buy some here, you buy some here. We have this long bear market where price is really doing nothing for a long time, these are the perfect buying opportunities, whether you're looking at stocks, but this is a Bitcoin show, so we'll say Bitcoin. When everyone's in despair, no one's talking about it anymore, there's no hype around it, everyone thinks it's dead, that's the time to be buying. And the only way you can really do that is if you have conviction, like I said. So recently we've been talking a little bit in the show about gold and silver, how it's had this parabolic run, and keeping that market psychology image in your head, I just want you to have a look for a few minutes for yourself and think about where you think we are. So this is a silver chart on the weekly, so each candle's a week. Let's go back a bit further. Right, so here we can see this is essentially that bear market. No one cared for 2020 to 2024. No one cared about silver. Silver's dead. No one would have been buying it unless, you know, there was someone actually interested in it. We had a little price run up. Still no one would have cared except the smart money. Those that have been accumulating. This is a massive accumulation zone. And then all of a sudden the news articles come out about silver, about people lining up down at the local bullion shop, right? And the herd decides, oh, maybe I should invest in silver. Seems like everyone's doing it, right? They're probably not even typically investors. They're not market participants in any way. And all of a sudden they see something, some article, and they decide to start buying. And they probably haven't even done it here because it wouldn't have made the news. So they've already missed out on, let's take this accumulation zone. For 4 years they could have been buying anywhere around this $33 mark. They probably don't buy. Maybe an article comes out here. They've already missed out on 150% gain. Let's say they did decide to start looking and they started getting in. They may have made 100% gain if they're lucky, but that's saying that they would have bought at that 152 range when silver would have started getting some attention, some news and some articles. So let's say they did. They're pretty smart, which they're not because they're coming in late anyway. Then they also had to have picked the top of $168 in order to get that 100% gain. So more realistically, I would say that your typical retail buyer, someone not already interested in the stock, the silver, the Bitcoin, whatever it is, maybe they bought here 152, they read the article, whatever. They probably lost 17% straight away, and maybe they freaked out and decided, I'm out, this thing's moving too much. But let's say they probably didn't, right? They'd hold on for a few weeks. They've run up, they're up 100%. They think they're geniuses, right? I've got in, I'm riding this wave. And then what happens? All of a sudden, silver has a massive pullback. So over the span of 2 weeks, it goes down 46%, which we've just seen. Now, I don't know where it's going, right? This could be a bit of a pullback, a bit of a breather, and it could go again. But I would dare say that anyone that's not seasoned in markets, in trading, in investing, probably hasn't got the conviction to withstand a 46% decline over a couple of weeks. So they're probably selling out now, in which case they've maybe made 40%, you know. Others might wait, and maybe we have a bounce, or maybe this is the end. Maybe that was the euphoria phase for silver. I mean, I'm not saying it is, but looks very similar to this run up, right? Pullback, maybe we see a relief bounce, and then a decline again, and then we go back into a bear market for who knows how long. So that may or may not happen. To me, it looks quite parabolic, quite steep, the run up like this, but markets are pretty crazy, and we could have a drawdown like this and then go again, right? The markets need time to breathe, new buyers to come in, and it could be a bit of an accumulation happening, and maybe we have more of a parabolic move in silver over the next few years. But the reality is, we're talking about psychology here, right? So we're saying it's dumb to buy at the top. You don't know where the top is. It's smart to buy at the bottom. You don't ever know where the bottom is. The smartest thing to do is pick something, right? Here we've chosen Bitcoin, but pick something, build your conviction in it, learn everything you can about it, why it's valuable, why it's going up, why you think it's got a good future in it, and then stick it out and dollar cost average. So buy every week, every fortnight. Maybe if you get a parabolic move like this, you reserve your buying, like you pull back from your buying, which is what I did with Bitcoin. Once it got to 100k Aussie, I stopped buying, right? My entry was a lot lower than that. I've been buying all through the bear market of 2022, and I'd seen on portions of my portfolio anyway, very good gains, all the way up to the 188,000 or 180,000 that we got to in Aussie dollars. And I was on a 7x gain. Now that's not my whole portfolio, because I'd been buying here, all the way up. Once it got to 100k Aussie, that was a bit of a psychological level for me, where I thought, okay, a lot of people would have had 100k Aussie as their target, so I'm not going to buy into any kind of euphoria, and all the money that I would usually put into the weekly buy just gets put into my offset account, my savings account, and is ready to deploy when we get back down under that 100k level, which we've now done. So I'm not saying that's the only way to invest, but it's definitely smarter to look at this 52% discount and not be leveraged and not be out of money, right? Because if you look at this and you have money on the side, you look at this drawdown of 50% as a gift, which it is, right? We know on this show, Bitcoin's going up forever, finite supply, capped at 21 million, decentralized peer-to-peer money, can't be shut down by governments, corporations, or anyone else. And so we know this is the future of money. And we look at 52% drawdowns. I mean, Bitcoin's had 80s, 90%. We could go down, drop another 30%. I mean, sure, it's done it before. But they're good levels for me to be buying. And basically that's the crux of it, right? You don't want to be doing what the herd is doing. So if you go on X right now and you look at anything Bitcoin, we did the Epstein video a couple of days ago, the amount of FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt around Bitcoin is just the same as every cycle. The end of an all-time high, we have a pullback, then it's discovered, okay, this pullback's going longer than anticipated. All of a sudden, everyone comes out, they're bearish, oh, that's it, it's over, come back in 4 years, or don't come back at all. Jeffrey Epstein created Bitcoin or some rubbish. China's banning it again, whatever. The stories, the headlines just continue to recycle. And it's the same thing. It's environment, it's CIA, it's controlled, it's, I don't know, going to be a central bank digital currency, whatever, you name it. There'll be a story there and there'll be an article there for the masses to gobble up. And this is what the smart money wants you to do, right? They want you to gobble up all the negativity, watch the price capitulate, crash, and they'll start buying up. And they'll wait until you are either liquidated because you are leveraging, or you've completely given up. You never had any faith in Bitcoin as a protocol anyway. You jumped on the hype train somewhere where it made an all-time high. I don't know, you maybe bought it at the 100k Aussie and you nearly doubled your money, and now you're back pretty much at your break even. And a lot of people will just sell at their break even. And then you've got to ask yourself, like, what was it even for? You know, if you go and invest in something and then you're refreshing your screen every day or 5 times a day for 6 months to a year just to end up back at square one, I mean, you may as well just use that money to go on a bloody holiday or do up your car or something, you know, like enjoy your life. Like, why would you have that, add that stress? So, yeah, psychology is a big one, and I thought it was timely to bring it up now when sentiment is so bad. Yeah, when the market looks like it's rolling over and going bearish, meaning that, you know, we had a good run up from, you know, the bottoms here in 2022, beginning of 2023. Bitcoin's done phenomenal, right? It's done a 700% gain, and a lot of people are saying, well, okay, that's all it did for this bull cycle, and it might be true, it might not, and now we're going to roll over, so take your ball and go home, come back after the next halving. Well, history rhymes, but it doesn't always repeat. So am I calling a bear market right now? Not really. I think markets are really tumultuous at the moment. I mean, gold pulling back 46% in 2 weeks. You know, there just doesn't seem to be a safe haven anywhere for capital. And I think maybe sometimes Bitcoin's a bit of a canary in the coal mine as to global liquidity. And when that liquidity is drying up, I think Bitcoin reacts first. So this pullback now in Bitcoin plus precious metals, to me, seems as though the Fed's going to have to do something, i.e. turn the money printer back on pretty damn soon, or they're going to start breaking things. And I don't mean they'll break Bitcoin. Bitcoin's $2 trillion market cap. I'm talking about the bond market, you know, currencies, the Japanese yen, you know, big money. Like, so we'll see what happens there with the market. But I could almost see that we're going to have a sudden flip and printers will get turned back on and Bitcoin will do exactly the opposite of what everyone's calling for on X, because typically that's what Bitcoin does, right? So, and we'll just have a rip your face off rally. No one will see it coming. Everyone's already sold out. Everyone's bearish. So I tend to be contrarian. I look at what's the main chatter and the main noise about Bitcoin on X, and then I tend to think the opposite will happen. There's no guarantee, but that's just my thoughts. I wanted to show you, let's go to the US chart. I wanted to show you an example of this when COVID hit. And this got me as well. So 2020, what do we have? COVID. So world shut down, blah, blah, blah. All the pandemic bullshit, right? So Bitcoin hadn't really done much. It was trading around this 8K level. And then all of a sudden, COVID hits. We spiked down to 4K. I think it was 3.8 or something like that. And, you know, everyone thought the world was ending. Everything's getting shut down. And it turned out that that was the exact bottom to buy for that bull run. So that bull run went up to 60K, 68K, something like that. Yeah, 68K. So 16x. If at that point when you thought the world was going to end, everyone's going to die of a bat virus or whatever, markets tanked. I mean, this is just Bitcoin, but all markets tanked. And I was actually still looking at stocks at that time and watched all these stocks tank and then thought, okay, this is another 2008 GFC moment. We're going to have this prolonged bear market and, you know, stay away from stocks and everything really. But instead, what happened? Well, everyone was locked down at home. How are you going to keep an economy going? We'll just print a shit ton of money. We'll give out stimulus checks. Make sure things can keep ticking over. And the US printed something like, I don't know, an obscene amount. It was 40% more money than what was currently in the US financial system, something like that. And then all of a sudden, you got 1 week opportunity, 2 weeks to enter, and then followed by, 12 months or whatever it was, even, 2 years of absolute tear, absolute bull market. And that was for stocks and everything, right? So what am I saying here? Well, I'm saying if the system's about to break, right, with all the Fed trying to tighten and, trying to stop inflation, if the bond market's about to blow up, and we're seeing that with this liquidity drying up, everyone getting out of Bitcoin, everyone getting out of silver, gold, whatever they can, right? Because they need the liquidity, and I'm talking big hedge funds and all of that. Maybe this is the same sort of capitulation event where they're going to go, nah, we can't keep tightening. We have to turn the printers back on. And you may actually find that somewhere here, not exactly today, but this is a fairly big spike down. Imagine if you transposed the results of the COVID rally onto now. You could get an 8x, maybe more, in Bitcoin. And I think that's probably more likely. I think something stupid's going to happen. They're going to have to turn the money printers back on. Why do I think there's a likelihood of this happening? Well, because sentiment is in the gutter. Everyone's taken their ball and gone home. Everyone's been liquidated from their long positions. There's no one left except the hardcore convicted Bitcoiners. Markets dictate that most people lose, right, because of that psychology piece. And there'll be a few people that win. I mean, it happens every time, no matter what stock you're looking at. Most people don't win. And I'd say pretty much because they don't have the experience and they don't have the psychology behind them. They don't have the conviction. So, look, there's a chance. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but I think Bitcoin tends to do the opposite of what people think it'll do. And the amount of FUD that's out there right now around Bitcoin, I think it could easily do the opposite of what everyone thinks. So how is it relevant to us? Well, again, basically, if we have built the conviction in Bitcoin, we've understood how it works, we've understood the mining, we understand the halving, we understand its fixed supply, we understand, hopefully more every day, about the fiat money system and the Ponzi scheme that is. We understand more about self-sovereignty with Bitcoin in our own hardware wallet, can't be confiscated, no one can take it. If we understand all these fundamentals about Bitcoin, we can stay convicted, and if we have any cash on the sidelines, we can start buying at a 50% discount, basically. And if it goes down further, well, we're going to be prepared for that too. So I would start deploying my cash now, and I am, but I'm more than comfortable if we get, a further pullback all the way down, because still got my job, still going to jump back into doing the dollar cost average thing. And by doing that, I can accumulate more Bitcoin at cheap prices, and I don't have to be some chart guru trying to pick the bottom and put the call on Facebook and then brag about it if I'm right, or stay quiet if I'm wrong. I just keep buying, right? So my level was 100k. Anything under that, I'm happy to buy. Anything over that, I wanted to sit on the sidelines and wait. But you have to come up with your own strategy for yourself. But don't follow the sheep. You follow the sheep, you just end up getting slaughtered. So build your own conviction. Keep following the channel, like and subscribe if you want. Share it around with your mates. And yeah, that's it for this one. Stay strong, keep hodling, and keep stacking sats. See you on the next one.